Hi, everybody. Hello there. We are back with Code and Chill.
We're back with our Twitch initiative. We got 3 really cool people on our DevRel team talking about how they connect Storyblok to their selected frameworks today. So that's going to be awesome. We'll also have more streams in the future with our partners and ambassadors and our community. So yeah, follow us on Twitch.
Hopefully all you will be tweeting about it, and we will have some people watching us how we are going to use the Svelte Astro and remix together with Storyblok. So now I will slowly bring up the speakers or our host today, because Sid is not here today, and I am going to take care of the stuff behind the scene. So it will be very, very fun, because I did it a very long time ago. So hopefully my skills are not too rusty. Anyway, let's bring Josephine in, Facundo, and Manuel.
Hello.
Hi, about
hey, everyone.
Hello.
Today we have 3 different people as last time. I mean, Josephine is returning, but you see a few new faces. So Manuel, Facundo, and also Cathleen, I realized, because Cathleen was also not here last time in the first session. So Cathleen, or Kat Ballar. So I will make her give me a second, a little bit on the screen, and let's put here her name, and also don't forget to follow her on the Twitter. So she will be your host today together with me, but she will be the main host. So she will be giving all the interesting questions, and maybe she can tell a little bit more about herself now.
Hi. Yes. So I'm a DevRel at Storyblok, alongside everybody here. Let's see. I don't know. I specialize in UX and Next.js, React. I'll be speaking at Render Atlanta next year, so be there.
Cool. I didn't know that. It's already confirmed. This is really new for me, so it's really cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm going to be talking about this game I made. I'm going to be converting it to React, and I'm going to use Storyblok with it too, so it's going to be fun.
Cool. Nice to know.
Hello, everyone. My name is Facundo. I'm also a developer relations engineer at Storyblok. I live in Buenos Aires, Argentina, Latin American, Spanish speaker people. I want to see the hola in the chat, or everyone that is there. And yeah, today we will be playing with 3 very cool new frameworks, I would say. They are pretty new, all of them, so that will be super fun. I will be talking about Remix, how to connect Remix to Storyblok, and how to create a project using Remix and Storyblok, and see how it looks like compared to other options, other frameworks in the market. So yeah, super cool to be here.
Nice. One more question from my side, because we should make it more interesting. Where we can meet you maybe in the next conference season? I will ask that every one of you.
That's a very good question. Well, on September, the last week of September, I will be speaking at React Alicante in Spain. So if you are in Europe, if you are in Spain and you want to travel there, you will be able to see me speaking. I will be presenting a talk about incremental static regeneration, a feature that is offered by Next.js, the framework Next.js. But besides that, I will be presenting a workshop, an introduction to the Jamstack using Next.js and Storyblok. It will be a 4-hour workshop. So if you want to listen to me speaking for 4 hours, but learn something new and cool, you are also invited to Alicante the last week of September. And the cool part about that, or the bonus, is that I'm not the only one that will be in September in Alicante the last week, right? That I'm not the only one that will be there, right?
Yeah.
That's true. I think all of us are going to be there.
Yes. I mean, I will be not on the conference, but more of you will be on the conference, definitely. So, yeah. Cool. Kat, who is next?
Let's see. Josie, let's go.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Josephine. I'm also on the DevRel team. I started in January, and I'm here to represent Svelte and Svelte Kit. and very excited because there have been some very recent changes that we just like brand newly incorporated into everything. So we're here to test it live, basically. And that's also where one of the conferences where you will be able to find me next, Svelte Summit in September in Stockholm. Yay, very excited. And before that, we're going to Freiburg to Smashing Magazine Conf. And then afterwards, Alicante, and that's just September. So plenty of opportunities to meet in person. Guess that was already all from my side. Oh, and my chat is not working. I don't know what it is with Twitch, but it doesn't like me and I can't put anything in the chat, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
Okay. If you need to put there something and the links, tell us, we will put it up.
I'll pass it along. Yeah, I just want to give a heads up.
Cool. So I guess I would be the next one. So my name is Manuel. I live in Germany and I'm also from Germany. And well, I actually have a background more in like the agency world, built a lot of stuff with WordPress and then made the transition to the Jamstack around like 1.5 years ago. So it's still quite recent actually. Mostly focused on Vue and Max, but also discovered Astro, the Astro framework, I think half a year ago, maybe like a little bit longer ago, and was always like super excited about that. And I've been following it very closely and started developing an SDK to connect Storyblok super easily to Astro. And that's something that I'm like really excited to show to you today. So actually the first time that anyone outside of Storyblok is going to see that. So I hope it won't crash.
It'll be fine. Everything's fine. Let's see. Okay, awesome. So we have a few questions. And if you have any questions, please post it, comment in the chat. If you have any questions for our lovely panel, we're here for you. We'll deliver that to them. But I have a few questions. So let's see. Why do you use or code in your framework? Like what's so special about your framework? Want to start, Facundo?
Okay, cool. So, well, today I'm talking about Remix because I've been following the framework. Well, the creators of the framework and all the projects that are being built around the framework, and well, how the community is embracing this new framework and looks pretty cool. Basically, Remix is a React-based framework. I mean, you can create your React components as any other React-based framework. But the cool thing about Remix is that it's focused on the server-side rendering. So the idea is like go a little bit away from the static side generation and go back to the server-side rendering, something that we used to do with PHP and other languages and frameworks in the past. That was super common, and that slowly different frameworks and programming languages are going back to that to get the advantage of the fast servers that we have around in the internet. The cool thing about Remix is that it's they call them edge first framework. That means that it's built to work on the edge. Well, we can talk about the edge later probably, but the idea is to get closer to the users. I mean, execute the logic in the server side, but not in a, how to say, monolithic web server, but in the edge servers that we have in different networks. So we are going to get the advantage of the server-side rendering in the edge. And besides that, the idea of Remix is going back to some fundamentals of the web development and web design. Also getting the advantage of some features that were already presented by different libraries like React Router, where we can have nested components and nested rendering, so you can divide your page in different components and render them independently and not having to render the complete page. It has some cool features that I'm slowly discovering and seeing how they improve the projects that we are creating. So yeah, super excited to show you how to connect Remix to Storyblok. We have a React SDK that works not only with Remix, but also with any other React-based framework as Gatsby, Next.js, React itself. And I will be using that SDK today to show you how to connect Storyblok to a Remix project. But yeah, super cool and exciting day today.
Yeah, I remember RemixConf. Everything was just loading so fast, so it was really cool to see everybody's project just instant right there.
Yeah, that's true. And the idea of focusing again on the user experience, and I mean, well, the developer experience, because you are using tools that are being developed and created now. I mean, they are new tools using new ideas that are around there, like, well, for instance, React. It's something that nowadays we are still using React for different projects, but besides that, using the edge computing and this new approach that different platforms are offering to create edge functions that execute like any server-side rendering logic, but closer to the user. So focusing on that, creating the frameworks are getting the advantage of this edge computing. It's super cool. Because again, we are we are having a good developer experience, but besides that, the most important part is that the users are getting a great experience, right? Because we can use any technology, and the users or the visitors of our websites, they don't really know what's happening behind. I mean, what technology we're using, and they don't care about that, because if you are probably some kind of developer or a nerd, probably you are interested on what technology was used to create a certain project or a website. But if you are not, and you are not interested on that, it's the same which technology you are using. The most important part is to create a cool project with a good user experience, right?
Of course. The UX really matters, especially like on the client side, because it's like, why would I use this if it's such a hard time to use,
Exactly.
I would have one more question very quickly, because I was like, I thought that the Remix is a React-based framework. Is it true, or like how does it look like, the Remix? Is it React-based?
I mean, it's React-based. And by now it works, it depends on React, let's say. I know that the Remix team is working on being independent on the client-side framework, let's say. I know that they are working on some new integrations, some new ideas on being able to use not only React, but also Vue. I know that they are experimenting with Vue. So the people is also able to use Remix with Vue components, for instance. But right now, Remix is the only choice that you can select to work with with the presentation, right? With the components.
Cool.
All right. Let's see. How about you, Josie? How about Svelte? Why choose Svelte?
Well, many good reasons. I'm so glad you asked. No, so for me personally, the reason why I got started with Svelte and Svelte Kit was that it's accessibility first, or that it's set to be, right? And that really got me hooked, because I think just alone the idea that somebody comes up with a new framework, puts a lot of effort in, and puts that as a claim, that says a lot about the people behind it, and that really intrigued me. And what I have found so far is that it has a really steep learning curve. Like, things are really fresh and new and small, and that makes it easy to get into it, even if you don't necessarily have worked with similar things before. Or maybe, it's based on Sapper, so I have never worked with that one before either, and that was not a problem at all. It's really fun to work with. And you guys just mentioned, right, like developer experience is super important. And I feel like that's kind of a first-class citizen there. So it's really fun to work with. And yeah, I was rated most popular framework last year, and I think this year it's second most popular. So that alone is reason to give it a try, right? So check it out. And yeah, and if you join like right now after the latest changes, you don't even have the pain of migrating, which wasn't so painful at all. So try it.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. I was wondering, like, how does accessibility play into Svelte, actually? So yeah.
How does accessibility play into it, or what was it?
Yeah.
So they have these accessibility warnings that check at compile time for things like, for example, did you include an image but don't have the alt tag filled out, for example, or is it not a good one, or things like that. It checks also for like very basic semantic structures. So I don't know, do you have a fig element but no fig caption and things like that. So it's not 100% checking everything, but how could it? Of course, like it can't check for visual things, but the really small things in the codes, checking for attributes and things like that. So that's really helpful. Gives you like a little warning, and then you have to return and fix it, and you cannot push it until it's done and it's accessible. So that's really cool.
That is really awesome. And that's so helpful too, because, screen readers and everybody who can't, view a website, as is, like needs these checks,
Yeah, absolutely. And what we tend to forget is that it benefits everybody. So, I mean, that should not be necessary as an argument. I would always say it should be enough to make it work for a small community of people, but it helps us all, right? So if you have slow internet connection and the images just don't get displayed, how are you going to figure out what it is? Like maybe it's wrong. So this is really, really helpful. Or I don't know, you're in really bright sunlight and you can't see your phone and all these. Yeah. So, but don't get me started on web accessibility. I'm not going to do that all night.
It's a different subject. Another stream. But yeah, accessibility, super important. Awesome. Yay, Svelte. All right, Manuel, you're left with Astro. So why Astro?
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of really convincing aspects of Astro. So first of all would be the performance aspect. So what Astro really tries to accomplish and also accomplishes very beautiful is to ship less JavaScript. So that's basically the core, the core or foundation of the whole project, to ship less JavaScript and basically render as much as possible as static HTML. And then Astro also provides this so-called island architecture. So this is really about what's called partial hydration, so that you can include reactive components if you wanted to, and you can hydrate them using different directives. So for example, whenever a JavaScript element like an island becomes visible on your page, for example, you could just hydrate all of the JavaScript then, rather than having it, at the initial page load, just clogging down the performance. So performance is one of the huge aspects of Astro for sure. And what's really cool about it as well is that you can basically use all different kinds of other frameworks and languages that you're already familiar with in Astro. So let's say you're coming from Vue, you can use Vue components in Astro. Let's say you're coming from React or Svelte, or I think there are really a couple of other options as well, but those are the three most popular ones for sure. You can use any of those languages for your dynamic interactive components while shipping the rest of the page as pure HTML, which is of course fantastic and really groundbreaking in a way. And it started out as a static site generator, but now these days it actually is possible to have server-side rendering active as well. Yeah, the project is really just growing. I think it's mostly applicable for pages which are a little bit more on the static spectrum of things. So if you would have a very dynamic SPA or something like that, Astro probably wouldn't be the framework of your choice. But for anything that leans more into the static direction, it's in my opinion a beautiful choice, and you should definitely check it out.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely we should. I was wondering about the hydration thing. So what do you mean by hydration?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the idea here really is by default, most of the frameworks would ship still quite huge JavaScript bundles, but you wouldn't necessarily need that for many of the cases, because HTML and CSS just suffices to render your basic page, and you could get the job done so much quicker. But of course, you don't want to miss out on all of the interactivity where you need it. And then basically Astro allows you to use any Vue or React or Svelte or any other type of component, even vanilla JavaScript. And then using those directives, you could say that, okay, for example, let's say my browser finished rendering the page and it's idle. Now please take care of all of the interactivity. Or let's say you have an island of JavaScript below the fold, and you wouldn't like have to ship all of the JavaScript on the initial page load. So what you can do is once the page finished loading and you scroll, and then at some point you would hydrate the component, and you would like get and benefit from all of the interactivity that you need. So that's like really the concept here, for mostly for performance reasons.
Oh, okay. So that's why it's more like static site generation focused rather than, dynamic.
Yeah, static site generation as well as server-side rendering. So like this concept of partial hydration, the Allens architecture works with both of those. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. Well, can you show us how to connect Storyblok to Astro?
Sure. I can take the lead if you want to.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Let's do that then. I hope I can share my screen just fine here. Can you see it? Oh, yeah, here we go. Hope you can see it now.
Yes.
Perfect. Wonderful. So I prepared a project here so that we can do some things and have a starting point. So first of all, what we could do is let's just jump to Storyblok here, and actually let's maybe enlarge my resolution here a little bit. So we can create a new space. Let's just call it Astro Test Twitch, whatever. And we can create the space here. And Storyblok then gives us our token somewhere. I think here it should be. And then we can jump here into the project. And in this case, we already have like the Astro SDK installed. And all that we have to do is we have to go here to the Astro config. And here you can see that we have a couple of things in place. So first of all, we configured vtier using the basic SSL plugin just to have everything running in SSL and localhost, because that's what we need for Storyblok v2. And then we have two integrations set up here in Astro. So Astro provides this really convenient integrations API, which makes it super easy to provide different kinds of integrations. So we've got Storyblok here, and we've got Tailwind here. And all that we have to do for now is to provide the access token, which we just copied from the freshly created space. And then we also have to communicate to Astro which components it should be looking for. So here we have the page, feature, grid, and teaser, and those are like the 4 default components which you would get when you create a new Storyblok space. And just like that, we're connected, hopefully, and we can now just start the project here, and this is looking good. So let's open this in Chrome here, and we can see that we actually get our hello world with feature 1, feature 2, feature 3. And we can also jump here to the content of our Storyblok space, and I actually have to go to the visual editor first and connect my localhost URL here as the default location. And then one more thing that we have to do, we actually have to provide a real path here. And here we go. So just like that, we're connected already. I think I was going pretty fast. Any questions about that?
No, that was really fast. That was really cool. You can like just instantly connect to Storyblok just like that. And that integrations API, oh my gosh. Okay. I need to play with Astro.
Yeah. I mean, like in this case, I like prepared the project for sure. So, of course, it would take like a little bit longer if you like were to set up everything from scratch. But if you'd like me to, we could like just make our way through it and have a look at like how things work in a little bit more detail, if you want to.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So as I stated, we've got those 4 components here. And first of all, I think it would make sense if we take a look here at our index Astro. So that's like where we would be looking for like the home page, the index page, and we can see a couple of things going on here. So we are importing our use Storyblok API function from the Astro SDK. And we're using that here to fetch the home story, which we just had a look at. And we're also specifying here that we want to get it in the draft version. Next, we're getting the Storyblok component also from the SDK, and we're using that here. And this is actually like the thing that does most of the magic for you, because this would automatically look for all of the components that need to be rendered. And then we also have a base layout here. So this is not Storyblok specific, but basically this is just, like our HTML wrapper, and we have the body here with a container class and just a slot where everything would, be rendered in. And to take a look at like the Storyblok component or like get an impression of what it does, we can use this debug component here from Astro. So let's quickly use that to just output our story's content here. So once we've done that, we can see here that we're basically getting like all of the data. The fetch is working, and we can see that here we have basically the body, and we have this teaser component, and then we have this grid component here as well. And the Storyblok component then, just resolves those for you, so you don't have to take care of that. Let's quickly just disable this again. And if we go into any of those components now, so for example, the teaser here, we can see how you can, for example, make use of all of the properties and also the Storyblok editable, which is what you would need for the Storyblok bridge to work. So with the bridge, you can see here that if I hover over this with the mouse, you can see those dashed borders. So basically, if I click on anything here, I think I have to refresh the page, then I would get to all of the different components straight away, so I could interact with that. And this is basically made possible here through the Storyblok editable function, which we're also importing from the SDK, and then just using here with the spread operator and just passing the block property, which we're getting here from the Astro props. Any questions?
No, none so far. That was really cool. I really like that debug component.
Yeah, it's kind of helpful. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's really cool. It's just like, I'm just going to make sure you're bringing the things that I need, and it's right here. Yay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, then we also have like some more interesting components, such as the page component. So this would be the content type component for the page that we're currently on. So if we take a look at this page component here, we can see that in this case, we're like, again, importing the Storyblok component, because we're actually like dynamically rendering other components once again, because we're iterating through the body of the story's content, which we just explored. So here we're just using like a basic map function to then return each of the Storyblok components. And by using or doing that, everything is just dynamic and renders as it should. The feature component is really super simple as well. It's basically the same as the teaser component. And then here with the grid component, we basically have the same thing going on as with the page component, because again, we have here an instance of nestable components. And in this case, those like nested components would exist here in the columns field. So we would just, basically loop through those and just render all of the different features which we have in here in this grid.
Nice. Yay. That takes care of like all the components that you need for the feature column.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
And then you can like move that all around and stuff like that on Storyblok. So that's actually really cool.
Yes, I mean, you can move like all of the stuff around, but there's like one thing that's like very particular about Astro, because as I mentioned in the beginning, with Astro, everything is rendered as HTML. So if you take a look at our other SDKs, like let's say for Svelte or for Remix or for React or Next or anything, you would in your preview environment have like full reactivity. So that would mean if I did something like that, it would update in real time here on the page. But that's actually not feasible, not possible with Astro because everything is just HTML. However, we have like a bit of a somewhat limited version of the bridge enabled here. So we can still like interact with those components. We can click on them. And as soon as we hit save here, everything would just refresh and then would update accordingly for you.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you just hit refresh and everything's like A-okay.
Yeah, yeah. So it would, in this sense, like behave pretty similar to, you know, if you were running PHP or any server-side rendered framework with Storyblok, you would get like the similar experience when using the bridge.
Sweet. Is the SDK already public and live?
Not yet. Working hard in it. Still supposed to get TypeScript support and a couple of other additions. But like as you can see, like most of the basic functionality is working just fine. But yeah, hopefully very, very soon.
Okay. Yeah. Sweet. Awesome. All right.
Anything else you'd be interested in?
Let's see. I think we can like move on to the next person for now.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you, Manuel. That was really inspiring.
Yeah.
Let's see. Josie, you want to go next to show us the Svelte magic, how it connects to Storyblok?
Yeah, sure. Let me just share my screen. Can you see what? You can see my screen, right? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. So what I have done is create a basic Svelte kit project. And then the only other thing that I did was install I never know how to pronounce it. Where is it? Well, the plugin that will help us, this one, if anybody knows how to pronounce it, please help me, which is going to help us set up the HTTPS connection, which we need for Storyblok version 2. And now that we got that out of the way, we can install Storyblok with our Storyblok Svelte SDK. And yes, so this worked. Awesome. And now we can start connecting Storyblok with SvelteKit. So I'm gonna create a page.js in my roots folder. So we're gonna have to start with a plus to indicate a new route, create a page.js file, and here, now I'm gonna copy and paste my code because I cannot type live. Here we're basically initially using the Storyblok init to fill in our access token, and we're using our API plugin. Later, we're also gonna get all our components in here, but for now, this is what we need. And before, if you have done this before with SvelteKit and Storyblok by any chance, this is what happened before in the layout.svelte. And now let's move over to Storyblok, create a new space. It's gonna be called Storyblok SvelteKit. I hope I didn't create this already. And oh, there we go. Let's see, yes. And we can go to our content, and on our homepage right now in the visual editor, we don't see anything, but we see our access token. So I'm just gonna steal that and put it into our code here. All right. And now we can already use our use API function. So this was done before in the index.svelte. And we're going to load all the things that we need before, right? That we need our data from Storyblok. So I'm going to do this below here. And of course, we have to import our use Storyblok API. I'm just going to have to really quickly check how we did this. Yes, it's also from the Storyblok Svelte. And we're going to import this. Let me save, and this looks good. Yeah, so what's happening here is now we're importing from our path using the use all our data, and we need that to be loaded before we actually render, right? So that's why we're doing this in the plus page.js. Now, let me check what else do we want to do. Now we can actually, so we want to see our changes live in the visual editor, right? So that's why I need the Storyblok bridge to be set up. And that's something we're going to do in the page.svelte actually. And here we can just replace this code. And oh, this is a lot for a small screen, or because I have zoomed in so much. There we go. So I'm importing unmount from Svelte. I'm importing the use Storyblok bridge and our Storyblok component from Storyblok Svelte. And then we are basically checking whether there are new stories and then populating that. And if there is data in our story, then we can fill it into our Storyblok component to render all that. And that's basically it. So we got it all connected. And then what we're missing, well, we're still missing some components, right? So let me check. No, I did not prepare that. Of course, I did not prepare that. I'm going to create a new components folder. And in here, we're going to create the same components that Manuel just had. So we'll create a page.svelte. And if you have done this before here, nothing much is changing. And then we'll create all the other default components, our feature. And here, if you have any questions in between, we can see if I can multitask. Else I'm just going to continue copy pasting.
For sure. I'm like in awe right now.
Well, that's a good state to be in. And what are we missing? Our grid. All right. Yeah, I hope it all comes together in the end. I mean, oh, what did I do? Sorry, things happening off screen. We need our grid.svelte. And let's see. Now, if I start npm run dev, let's see, it's opened up on our local host, and we'll switch to our visual editor. Now, what we still need to do here is set up our preview URL. So this needs to be our local host. I always forget the new number. Was it 51? Let's see. Save it. Go back to our content. And we got it. Oh, yeah. See, this is what I was going for. Now let's check the real path. And then, let's reload. This is exactly the beauty I was hoping for. Let me check the. Oh, there's something wrong. We didn't load our component. That's right. Oh, I love that we put in that error message there. We actually did forget doing that. Yes. So in our Storyblok init, we need to import all our components and list them so that they're loaded. And that's something I forgot. Let me import them here, and then we can have our object of components in here. There we go. Let me save. And oh, there it is.
Yay.
Yeah, so we made it. So glad this worked out. We just finished this today. Yeah, that's how you integrate SvelteKit and Storyblok.
That's amazing. That was pretty fast too. Like, from a React perspective, it's pretty similar, but like there's differences there, definitely.
Yes. Is the SDK already public and live? Oh, I guess that was a question for Astro, right? Because for SvelteKit, it is public, it is live. We just last week published the ultimate tutorial for SvelteKit, which of course now is a tiny bit outdated, but we're working really hard to improve that. And just today, I wrote up some notes. Wait, let me share that on how to really quickly set up Storyblok with SvelteKit after the latest changes that have just been happening. Oh yeah, and there's already the link for the ultimate tutorial. But that's basically how you would do that.
Very cool. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Gonna get started with Svelte soon.
You should try. It's really fun.
Yeah, so the setup was pretty easy as well. And then, you know, the plus sign thing is like new to me. So I was like, that's interesting. That's really simple for routes.
Yeah, and it's so funny because there was so much, like they changed a lot of things, right? There were a lot of breaking changes, and the most discussion was about this plus sign. And I was literally like reading this with popcorn on my desk. I was like, this is so hilarious. Like, this is what the community is fighting over, the plus sign.
The drama.
No, I love it. I mean, that means that they did an amazing job, right? So yeah, that's the thing people fight about. So
that's funny. Because it's just like, it matters to us.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter. Something like that.
I mean, if you think about it, adding a new route could make sense, right? With a plus sign.
I mean, it's a little better than having like a separate like file with the routes, and then it's kind of like redundant over there. So
yeah, I mean, I guess it's how do you say? Well, it's in the end, it's personal taste, but I'm gonna get used to it. We're all gonna get used to it.
All right. Oops, excuse me. All right. We have a question, I think, for everybody. So if somebody's new to Storyblok, does Storyblok have support for backend services?
Manuel asked a very good question too.
Yes. Follow-up question. What do you mean by backend services?
While we wait, can I just point out that I didn't notice that, Facundo, you're wearing a remix t-shirt. Like,
yeah, nice shirt.
I took it very serious, you know, like I'm a remix supporter today.
Yeah. Oh, no, I wish I had some Svelte swag.
Message to the Svelte team, you know. Well, in the Svelte summit that you are going, right?
Yeah,
that's a very good opportunity. There you go.
Swag. More swag. All right, Facundo, it's your turn. Show us the remix magic.
It's my turn. Let's see. Let's see how it goes. Let me share my screen. Let me know if you see my screen.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, my colleagues are super smart and they prepared some projects before joining the stream. I didn't do that. I didn't do the homework, but don't panic because I will cheat, as Alex said last week, and I will show you a quick way of creating a new project, a new remix project, and connecting that project to Storyblok all together in a few steps. So if you go to storyblok.com and you log in with your account, you have the possibility of creating a new space, as my colleague did. I will go and create a new space. I will name my space, let's say, Code Chill Remix. And when I create this new space, I'm redirected to this Get Started page where I have cool tutorials, guides, links that you can visit with different tutorials for the different technologies that we support, the SDKs that we have, the code samples that we have, the guides to connect any framework to Storyblok. But the other cool thing is that you have this command here that you can copy the code that I just did. And then if you go to the terminal in your computer, you just need to run that command where you are executing this create demo application that was created by the Storyblok product team. So what this is going to do is to create a starting project connecting to your brand new space, selecting the framework that you prefer. So I can choose a folder name for my project. Let's call it the same, Code Chill Remix. I can pick between different options which framework I want to use for my new project. You can see that there are a lot of options here, super cool. And I will pick, of course, Remix. You can pick if you want to use Yarn or NPM. I will use NPM because I like it. And what this create demo application is going to do is to generate a boilerplate, a brand new project that will connect to your new Storyblok space. So I can go now to the folder that I just created, the Code Chill Remix. And now that I'm inside the folder, I can run the, let's go first to show you the code. So I will open Visual Studio Code here. Let me share with you the project that I just created. Well, this is the project that was created using the Create Demo application from Storyblok. What I wanted to show you is that if I go to, well, this is the basic structure of a new remix project. If we go to the root file where we can set some configuration that will affect to all our project, all our pages, all the routes that we are going to visit, you can see that we already have all the components imported. We can see that we are executing the same Storyblok init function, very similar to the one that we used in the other frameworks, and that our access token was already added here. So if I go now to the terminal for this project and I run the npm run dev command, well, this means that first I need to install, of course. So I'm installing all the dependencies that we have. You can see the dependencies if you go to the package.json file. Well, all of them are already installed. It was pretty fast, so I didn't have time to do that. But now if I run the local server, it should work. Now I can see that it's working on this port, the local host. So if I go now to the local host, you will see that it should be running now. Well, this is http. So if I go here, well, this is the application that I had just created. But if I go inside Storyblok, I can also see that. First of all, I will go to the settings of my space and I need to set an HTTPS URL for my project because we are working with secure connections. So I will point to my local host, but a different port using an HTTPS URL. So I will save here. And now if I go to the content, to my home story, which is the one that is created when we create a brand new space, I should be able to see my application up and running. So if I go now, I have the possibility of, I don't have the possibility of, looks like I need to refresh my page. Let me see. But if I click now, come on, what's happening? This should be changing the content, but the click should be enabled. Oh man, I need to fix something, but you can see that I can change the content and now this is working.
Okay, yeah.
But the click function is not working now. Oh. Okay, then I need to review, but the idea was to show you the magic of this working, right? I mean, the connection was done, so. But well, I mean, besides that, what we can do is basically go through all the different, we can go through the different files that we have in our project. We have the different components that, as you can see, they are React components with the HTML that we want to render, and we are using the different properties of the components that we have in our space. As you can see, each one of these components is receiving a blog object with different properties. These properties are the ones that we are setting in the components in our space. You can see the headline for the teaser. You can see a grid with columns, and each one of the columns is a feature with a property name. And those are the properties that we are using in the components that we created. You can see that for the feature, we are receiving a block of component type feature. We are grabbing the name property and we are displaying it in a React component. The same for the grid. We have the columns here. We are receiving a block. And for each one of the columns, we are grabbing that column as a block and we are rendering a dynamic component, which is called Storyblok component. This is provided by the Storyblok React SDK. We can take a look at that. But besides that, all the configuration is pretty similar to the one that we have in other frameworks and the other examples that we just saw. What we are doing basically is executing a Storyblok init function with the access token to connect to our space, and we are listing the components that we want to dynamically render in our project and that we want to be able to edit and see the live editing experience inside the real-time visual editor of Storyblok. So whenever I apply a change in these components, I will see the new content that I'm creating. And this is because we are initializing this connection between Storyblok and our project. You can see with this function. And then we will have the different routes that we are going to handle for our remix project. You can see that we have an index and a home route, and this is for this example application that I just created, but in your case, you can create dynamic routes that will evaluate any page that you have in Storyblok, and it will display the content related to all of the routes that you are managing in your project. But basically, yeah, I mean, I don't want to go super deep because I know that we have other questions to answer, and probably those topics are related to those questions. So yeah, you have a remix project up and running and connected to Storyblok.
Nice. This is pretty awesome. I don't really have any questions. That was really easy and easy to follow, and like it was like already ready for you because you use the SDK.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. As you can see, I mean, I'm cheating because I use this demo project that was created using the Create Demo application provided by the Storyblok product team. But yeah, I mean, we can go deeper and see the configuration of each one of the parts of the application if we create a brand new project. You can also go to the official website of Storyblok because, well, as you were able to see during the stream, we have different links to different 5-minute tutorials for the different technologies and frameworks. We have guides to that you can follow to create projects from scratch and connect them to Storyblok. Remix is one of the frameworks that we are supporting and that we have guides for. So yeah, I encourage you to go to the Storyblok website and take a look.
Nice. Really cool. Will do. Yeah, the create demo thing actually is new to me. 1 second.
You can see the different options, and as I was reading in the chat, yeah, you have to. I mean, you have the Storyblok developer relations team here. You have to ask them to have more options for different frameworks. I didn't see the Astro option in the application, so you have to ping Manuel on Twitter and say, hey, Manuel, we want Astro in the Create Demo application. So that is how Manuel will work on that.
It's definitely going to happen for sure.
Yay.
This shouldn't be live. I mean, this should be a private conversation during work times. But yeah, I mean, I get the advantage of having the people here. So you feel the pressure.
No pressure.
Peer pressure. No. Sweet. Is there anything special you guys want to show us on your, like, anything special about your framework that like kind of differentiates like from each other?
I mean, sorry, Josie, you wanted to say something?
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
I could show like how to use like this islands architecture and how to use like a view component, for example, in an Astro project, but depends on like how long we want to keep this stream going. So decision is up to you, Kat.
Oh yeah, that's up to me. What about Sam? I don't know. I mean, that was really cool to see everybody connect to Storyblok, and that was like the central thing that I wanted to see, like, because I've never worked with Svelte Astro or Remix before, so that was really cool. And everybody was super fast in connecting it and had different ways of connecting to or creating their project. So that was really, really awesome to see. And so now I want to play with all of these things. Do I have the time? That's the thing.
I was going to say that's the biggest problem, isn't it? The FOMO, but then the time is just limited.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Time is always limited. But we can go like very quickly through all the questions like we did last time. We already answered them. So, I mean, we already like talk about each of you. We already like introduced the frameworks. We had there also how to connect them, which you did very well and nicely. And there was only a little back by Facundo, or wasn't it back, or just missing something? Wasn't sure.
Yeah, I'm
So
checking.
Really
I
nice.
will check.
Yeah, maybe you can do a live stream about the checking it.
I prefer to talk about other things while I check.
Okay, no problem. I mean, like, there was like the last time we did because it's not so easy, and a lot of time I'm getting the questions about the headless, and the people don't. I don't want to say like they don't understand, but there is like still a lot of people confused about it. Does it mean headless? Which is, for example, the question that I already get today, and that's what also means that how to request the data. So did you show that today? How to show and request the data in your frameworks? So that was covered. And who of you can really easily define what is headless if you get like the one sentence? Anybody?
In one sentence?
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, a headless content management system is a CMS where the presentation layer is decoupled from the admin layer or the backend that we use to create the content. So the question is, what's a content management system, right? A content management system is a platform that we can use to create content and consume that content to display it in different projects. Well, we can talk about the benefits of using a headless content management system, but if you use a traditional or monolithic content management system like WordPress, for instance, the original WordPress, you are tied to a certain presentation layer. So the content that you create with this admin panel or backend can only be displayed in the presentation, I mean, following the presentation rules that the tool team decided when they created the tool. In this case, WordPress team decided that to present the content that you are creating with the tool, you have to use the PHP programming language that is tying you to create web projects with a certain programming language and certain features that PHP provide. Using a headless content management system, you can use any framework as we are displaying in this stream. We are using 3 different frameworks to display the same content that we are creating in Storyblok, because as you were able to see, the content that we were creating and managing inside Storyblok was exactly the same for the 3 examples. But besides that, the cool thing is that you can display that same content in different channels. So you can display not only the content that you are creating in web projects, but also in mobile applications, desktop applications, in your smartwatch. Alexa from Amazon can sing songs using the content that you created in Storyblok. Cool things.
That'd be really cool.
It's very long
if
sentence.
I answered the question. Yeah, I mean, no.
Like 5 sentences.
The sentence about the headless content management system was only one. Come on.
I mean, yes, you did generalize it in one sentence, but then after that,
I didn't put the dot. I didn't put the stop in any place. So it's a sentence.
Very long sentence.
No, that is very good. No, it's very good. That's why we are here, also having a little laugh. There was also like, what do we need to do? Render and show data. I think like that we did, or show some templates. And there was like anything, or anybody of you want to say anything about the real-time visual editing experience, or how does it exactly work and why does it work? I mean, this is something what I always like found that it's a tricky, maybe. I mean, it's Manuel, you explained why it doesn't work by basically in Astro. So
yeah, I mean, Astro would probably be like the worst example to show here in this particular setup. But yeah, basically the Storyblok real-time editing is made possible through the Storyblok JavaScript bridge, which is essentially a small snippet which you would include just in your preview environment. And when you consume the draft JSON of Storyblok, so everything that is not published so far, you would get like some additional information in that JSON, which would basically make it possible to sort of communicate with your components, so that it is possible to, as you've seen, click on any of the components or blocks, as we like to call them, and then you would automatically see all of the related content fields for that particular component right away, making it super easy to navigate. And if you were to then edit any of those fields, be it single option, multi-option, text, whatever, it would update in real time using the reactivity of most of the modern JavaScript front-end frameworks. So the bridge basically listens to events triggered in the Storyblok CMS platform. So whenever you would make a change or whenever you would save, it would just detect those events, listen to them, and update the page automatically for you accordingly without any delay whatsoever. So that's what it's all about.
Cool. I'm out of questions.
I guess what you could find out there is that it's, while it's a little bit different for all the frameworks, it's also very, very similar for, at least for all of the ones that I have seen, where you basically attach like a tiny code snippet to the components that you want to make editable. So for us, it's the, like in SvelteKit, that's the use directive, and then you say use, well, no, I'm gone blank and I forgot. Use Storyblok editable, I think it's called, and it's a version of this in all the frameworks. And once you attach that, the component becomes editable, right? Because we were able to see, for example, the local host, but you couldn't actually edit it before we had set that up. So maybe that's like a good, because we're a bit different, but all the same in the end. I guess that's find out.
But actually, I think you're raising like a really important point here regarding the terminology, because this is something that we really strive to accomplish, that for each in like every framework, you would easily be able to recognize like the different terms, the different functions from any other framework. If you like used Storyblok before with, let's say, React, and then you go to Vue or you go to Svelte, like things like the use Storyblok API or like the Storyblok editable and things like that would be like extremely familiar for you. So that's really something that's important to us, especially to Alex, our colleague. He's not here today, who kind of like oversees all of the SDKs, so that we really like have a very coherent experience there for you as developers.
Cool. I agree. I couldn't tell it better. I really like it. So like the SDK and the developer experience is like really important. And I think like it's really cool if we can provide something that people doesn't need to think too much about how to build something big in background, but can focus on the final products for the customer. So, and spend more time on accessibility. So, you know, like don't
exactly
stuff like that. Okay.
It was a long sentence, this one too. Come on.
I did not. I didn't ask him to do it with us. Cool. How do you like the stream? Are we going to do more about this? Maybe we can do also like one focusing on each of the frameworks. What do you think? Because like I think it was a lot for other people. I mean, it was very quick. It was like basically how it's called, like from trying. Yeah, I have a great name for this. It's like trying the framework from the bullet train.
Yes, bullet train framework.
Yeah.
Speaking about the bullet train, you can go to the cinema. The new movie from Brad Pitt. Have you watched it?
Yeah.
You like it?
Very good movie. Recommend.
I like it.
Recommend it.
I recommend also like from the current movies. It was fun, easy and very fun.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
Anybody else watch it? Any other recommendation for good movies in the cinemas right now, or in general? No, good.
I think everybody's raving about Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm not sure what it's called everywhere else, but yeah, it has Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah, I really want to go see that.
Yeah, me too. It's coming back to theaters apparently, so in the States at least, so yay.
Well, that could mean it's still on here because we're always way behind. So.
Got it.
No, but what I meant to ask was, so last week we did the most popular frameworks, I guess. This week was like the new kids on the block. Are we going to do something with the older tags? I don't know, because we have PHP, we have Angular, we have, right? Like we have SDKs.
Yeah.
Is there something coming up?
We didn't plan so far anything. We are waiting for how it will work. But I think like we definitely are. This is not our last stream, so there will be something. We also need to check our internet already because the conference isn't coming on, so it will be a lot of traveling for all of you, a lot of streaming, and definitely we are going to stay streamed. Follow us on the Twitch, on Twitter. And we will be doing more of this stuff. And I think like Josephine's great idea about the Angular PHP, especially as we are building something with PHP, as far as I know, also with Angular. And the good question, what would be the third one there? I don't know. Like we can find out something.
We'll figure something.
I know a guy that used to work with C# and ASP.NET.
Oh
And after that, we will do the mobile version with the Swift, and we will find the ambassadors. Also, good point. We will be doing more of this with partners, ambassadors. So we would like to also give the highlight and the podium to all our cool community and stage. That's the correct English word. Sorry, my English German stuff going on.
Yeah, I think there will definitely be like a dedicated Astro stream happening, I think in October. So currently working on that, and the SDK will certainly be released by then, so we can then cover everything more in depth and detailed manner. So looking forward to that for sure. So I'll be back then by the latest.
I just wanted to highlight that Manuel just did the live public promise that the SDK will be live in October.
Sure. As you could see, it works beautifully. So no issues whatsoever.
Good.
Man, he promised this Astro stream. He promised the adding Astro to the create demo application. I mean, he's promising a lot of things, man. He will be
promises,
busy.
Yeah.
Good. Good. We are
really busy.
We are slowly over. We are already over 1 hour, so I think some final notes we should make, and we can.
I wanted to show a couple of things in the. I mean, using Remix as an example, but that it applies to all the SDKs to show where we are going as a developer relations team and the SDK, the idea. If it's okay.
Go ahead. It's super for me.
My screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's 3-5 minutes, not more than that. First of all, I wanted to tell you that I was able to find what was the issue, and I'm already creating the change in the starter that we create with the create demo application. There was a configuration that was not correct there, so now I'm able to click and show you that it's working. But what I wanted to show you, and it's the reason why I discovered that, is that in this case, it's we have the Storyblok React SDK that works, as I said before, for not only for Remix, but any React-based framework. We have the SDKs for the other framework, for Svelte, for Astro. And what we are trying to offer from the SDKs, as my colleague mentioned before, is that we can offer the same idea or the same approach, no matter which framework or technology you are using. So, basically to connect to Storyblok, the main important parts, I would say, or the main steps to follow are connecting your project with Storyblok. And in the case of the Storyblok React SDK, we have the Storyblok init function where we do that. On the other hand, what we are doing is letting Storyblok know which blocks from Storyblok we are going to render in our project dynamically in the pages that we will have in our project. And based on the Storyblok blocks, what is going to be the visual representation of those blocks. In the case of React projects, we will have React components. In the case of Vue projects, we will have Vue components, and etc. But the idea is that we can link the name of the blocks in Storyblok with the name of the component or the visual representation of that component in our project. So we connect to Storyblok, we tell Storyblok which components we are going to render in our application. And besides that, we have some cool features like Storyblok API client that we are using here to connect to the Storyblok API and bring the content. I mean, you can do this with some native fetch methods that you will have depending on the programming language that you are using. But the cool thing about the API client from Storyblok is that you can send some parameters to that request to retrieve data or to retrieve certain data or with certain conditions that I encourage you to take a look to the README file of the different SDKs that we offer, so you can learn more about what are the options that you can send in the case that you want to pick the draft version or the published version of your content, or in the case that you want to bring the content related to linked stories to the one that you are bringing in that same request. In the case that you want to bring content in a different language than the default language that you are using in your space, we can talk about internationalization in a different stream because it's kind of a long topic. But you can use this Storyblok API client to retrieve the data. And once you have the data, you use the Storyblok dynamic component that we also have in, we try to have in all our SDKs to dynamically render the different components and the visual representation of those blocks that are coming from Storyblok. And we put this flag Storyblok editable that can have different names depending on the framework and the SDK that you are using. But the idea is exactly the same, is to put a flag on the visual representation of our blocks to let Storyblok know that inside the visual editor, we will be able to click on those different components and we will be able to change the value of the properties of those components and see the changes in real time in this visual preview that we have. So yeah, I just wanted to show you like the main, the main components of all our SDKs, no matter which technology or programming language you are using. So if you follow the different tutorials that we have in the Storyblok official website, you will see that all of them are following a very similar approach. And yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Cool. That was awesome. Very helpful and very good information for us to have when we're developing. Sweet. Well, that was our Code and Chill stream, everybody. Thank you for being here, Josie, Facundo, and Manuel, and showing us the magic of your frameworks. That was so fun. And thank you to my co-host, Samuel. That was really fun. Yeah. Stay tuned for our next stream with Girl Code Break Time Bootcamp Edition, where I'll be speaking about my experience with boot camps. That's going to be fun. It'll be on September 13th. Click on that link over there to see the event. We'll have more streams like this in the future. Just look out for us. Look out for announcements, especially on our Twitter at Storyblok, STORYBLOK. So, yeah.
Thank you. I mean, or Josie, do you want to tell us any more about the Grill Code break time? Do you know anything about this?
Yeah, sure, I can. So basically, what we did last time is we met because Arisa, Monica, who's on the product team, and I are all Girl Code ambassadors. And we figured we're all Girl Code ambassadors. We're all at Storyblok. Why don't we do a meetup? And so we had our first edition. I think it was last week. We had a chat about imposter syndrome. And next time, as Kat said, we're going to be talking about boot camps. We have a couple of people there who all have some experience with boot camp. And among others, Kat is going to be joining us. Really fun. And yeah, so anybody who wants to come is welcome. It's not specific for girls. It's not specific for coders. Everybody's welcome. You don't have to be a member of anything. So come and join us. The link is already there. Just sign up and come. It's at European lunchtime. So might not be super convenient all over the globe, but we try to mix these up so that it becomes a bit more accessible to everybody. So yeah, we're really looking forward to everybody joining us. That's all.
That is awesome. Yay. I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. But I think that's it, or that's
All right,
everything.
bye.
So have a nice evening, have a nice morning,
You
have a
too.
nice lunch, and see you next time.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye,
See
buddy.
ya.
Bye bye. See you.